Recently, we spoke with Rick Betterley about the exposures small and medium-sized companies have to cyber attacks. In part 2 of our discussion, we look at the market for cyber insurance for SMEs. So Rick, can small and medium-sized companies find insurance coverage for cyber risk?
Sure can. There's a lot of cyber insurance available for purchase. Many insurance companies are offering good quality cyber insurance policies at, we think, reasonable prices. I think we cover about 30 of them in the Betterley Report. A lot of places you can buy cyber insurance these days.
Is the coverage a standalone policy, or can it be added to existing covers?
Well, you can do either. Most cyber insurance is bought as a standalone policy. The cyber/privacy policies are standalone. There are many of them that are available. But there's also an opportunity to buy cyber insurance through add-ons to policies that an SME is already buying. For example, a BOP policy or a professional liability policy, technology E&O policies. So these are additional endorsed on coverages, probably available at a reasonable price. Be careful to make sure that the quality of the coverage is sufficient. Because many times the coverage is a little thinned out in the interest of price, and or the limits are really inadequate. But it's a good place to look, as well as the standalone policies.
Is cost the major reason smaller companies haven't bought cyber insurance?
I don't think that's the only reason. I think it's certainly important. The cost of the insurance looks to us to be reasonable, but to an SME, comparing it to the cost of their other policies, it may look expensive. But I think there have been other barriers that have been tough to get over. One is that the brokers, in many cases, still have a hard time communicating what's covered, how it's covered, and really does not breed as much confidence in the eyes of the potential insured that would lead them to actually go ahead and buy the policy. It makes it easy for them to say, well, maybe next year. So that the technical nature of the coverage is making it harder to buy. And then, of course, as mentioned in the previous interview, the whole idea of, do I really need this? I'm not a target, certainly comes into play. But a lot of SMEs recognize that this is not a question of will I be hacked? It's a question of when I will be hacked.
As you look ahead, how do you see the market evolving? Big potential?
There's a lot of potential to sell a lot more cyber insurance to the SMEs. The market penetration is still very low. The concern that I have is that the ability to profitably underwrite cyber insurance policies, or endorsements for that matter, in the SME market is subject to question. If hacking is as pervasive as it seems to be, then how are insurance policies going to cover such a high frequency event at a relatively low cost? And the answer is it's going to be very difficult to do that. Cyber insurance policies often come with value-added risk management services that help the insured be more secure. We think insurance companies can do a lot more in that area to help their smaller insureds be safer. We think that's one of the great benefits of the cyber insurance policy. If those additional safeguards aren't implemented, it's going to be tough to see this business be profitable and meet the growth opportunities that it has.
Rick, thank you for those insights.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
For part 1 of our discussion with Rick Betterley, visit the RIN TV On Demand Library.